Hello, welcome to game 4 of the C League playing match Earl versus Personman. I'm here with KHZ.
Yeah. So I was saying, I don't think Wolfden matters a ton here because I feel like you end up playing a pretty bridge-y thing.
Yeah.
You probably score a lot of points.
Yeah, there are a lot of villages. There's a lot of draw.
Yep.
There's good enough trashing. Middling attacks, I guess.
Yeah, there's not really any trashing to counter Young Witch, but, I mean, there's Salvager, right? But on the other hand, it's Young Witch, and there's Son of Anto. Like, I feel like she's not worth it.
Yeah, if you play a Young Witch, I think I can get one Sauna and do all the trashing I need. Probably with fishing villages and envoys and stuff, I'm not going to go for the Son of Anto stack.
I like, now that I started thinking about it, I like a fishing village scholar skeleton. That lets you really find a lot of cards, get those bridges down.
Yeah, I'm thinking about if you want to play with Paddocks. Paddocks don't work great with draw to X.
Yep.
But I suspect we'll see Salvager openings, and what you pair it with is not obvious to me. Probably silver. But if someone opened like Fishing Village Salvager, I wouldn't be shocked. Because
Seems
early
reasonable.
on, you want to hit 4 really often. You don't care as much about hitting 5. It always feels awkward to open with a village.
Kaplan asks, why don't Paddocks work well with draw to X?
Well, the general pattern I try to play with draw to X is I play like bridges and fishing villages and get my hand size down low, and then draw up with Scholar. And so with Paddock, you're having big hand sizes with all the horses. So, but it does work with the fact that the Paddock itself is not drawing. So you could Scholar up after you played a bunch of Paddocks. So maybe the Paddock can work fine with Scholar. I think I was saying the one sauna line seems fine. You probably want one sauna and one silver, and you can trash your coppers fairly easily. I mean, you only need to get one silver. I think you expect to be drawing your deck pretty quickly. Earl had a pretty gross shuffle there, opening Salvager silver and didn't hit the price points because they drew the Salvager with no estates.
Yeah, that was pretty unfortunate.
So I wonder if you start adding in envoys to these decks, or do you want to add bridges? There's a bunch of different pieces you can think about adding. Personman just goes for more villages. I can kind of see the fishing village pile running out here pretty quickly, activating the Paddock pile, but I also
definitely
expect them to stop buying villages and start buying bridges at some point. Because bridge is the card you want the most of.
Fishing Village seems very important because there's so many actions you want to be playing on this board. Son of Anto is another way to get some actions, but nowhere as good as fishing.
Yeah, Son of Anto works well sort of as a monolithic thing, but if you're playing with a bunch of fishing villages and bridges and paddocks and stuff, it's hard to get the village effect out of it. But then again, Avanto's just an ice +3. Avanto's a fancy smithy here, but if you've got a bunch of fishing villages, maybe that's not a problem. It doesn't look like that's gonna happen here.
But with fishing villages empty, Paddock becomes non-terminal draw, which is really nice.
Yeah, I anticipate fishing villages running out and bridges running out, and then the game just kind of ends. The patrician pile will disappear. The Paddock pile will disappear. What's interesting, they elected to not play the horses and instead just play the bridge and buy things.
Yeah. Patrician has a minor anti-synergy with bridge. If you're playing like a draw to X thing where you're putting down bridges mid-turn, then Patrician stops being able to draw.
Yeah, I'm thinking, yeah, if you have a couple of bridges in play, you can get to the patricians and get the emporiums, get a bunch of points quickly. But maybe, well, we're already seeing the patricians lowered more than I thought they would be.
Yeah, it's not actually a big deal. The bridge thing.
Yeah, we'll see. Earl gets another bridge, gets another 2 bridges. Okay. This is tough. You have to add plus actions. I mean, as with all engines, you have to add actions, you have to add draw, you have to add bridges. And the exact ratio you add that in is pivotal in the build order. And Earl just having bought 2 bridges there seems like they may have gone a little bit harder on the bridges than their deck currently support, but we'll see. Personman has a nice turn here with multiple bridges in play and 4 buys. I assume a couple of these buys will be fishing villages.
I'm not sure what you buy here. 4 bridges feels a little excessive.
Is that a denial play? They're trying to deny Earl the bridge pile? Like, Earl kind of has to respond by buying 2 bridges of their own here, right? Which their deck can't support yet, but
You gotta.
Personman's deck doesn't work either with that.
I mean, Paddock's just activated.
Yeah, I guess that's fair. Yeah, if Earl responds by taking the villages, though, they don't have enough draw to actually play any of it. Neither fishing village nor bridge draw, and their deck doesn't have any scholars yet. So it seems like you need maybe. I mean, I think you can do what you need with 4 bridges here. So Earl only had 2 bridges, so is 2 bridges enough to compete here? I don't know. I think you probably want to have at least 3 or 4. But if you can get 4 bridges into play in a turn, if you can get 5 bridges into play in a turn, you can empty piles, score a bunch of points and end the game. I'll be interested to see, as you said, the Wolf Den probably doesn't do very much, but I'll be interested to see if somebody ends up on an odd number of horses on their last turn. There's some fun stuff there that can happen. So, Earl seemed to put together a pretty nice turn here. They have to be pretty careful now. If best case scenario, Personman can gain like all this stuff. Does Personman have any fishing villages coming into place? Personman has not that many villages. Earl needs draw pretty badly. So
yeah, I'm tempted to take all the villages here.
Take all the villages, then like a scholar. Or is there any thought to uniqueness? Like, I don't think there's any thought to uniqueness yet. I guess they thought they wanted to get uniques, so they got a second sauna, which gets them around their uniqueness problem.
Mm-hmm.
But again, Personman with a pretty bad dud here. No fishing villages coming into play and 5 terminal actions. This is when they bought those 4 bridges. If they'd bought 2 bridges and 2 villages, they'd had a much more balanced deck, and this turn would be really nice. If even one of those bridges was a fishing village.
Yeah, they really wanted to win that bridge split at the cost of probably the game.
Yeah, it doesn't seem good for them, although looking at Earl's hand, their deck is not necessarily the greatest either. Or their turn coming up is not necessarily the greatest. They got 2 patricians. That seems risky with your opponent getting access to the Emporium pile. It doesn't actually seem like it's going to matter. But I assume Earl's just going to buy another province here. They got 2 Emporia. The thing I'm worrying about is if the best possible case Personman has a huge turn. They can empty fishing villages and emporiums, and I guess that's still not enough victory points to win. I guess they'd still need more victory points than that to be able to win the game. So maybe the worst case, Earl's completely safe there. As it is, they could empty the Emporium pile, but that's going to leave it open for Earl. So unfortunately, Personman doesn't look like it can actually touch the Emporium pile.
Yeah.
That they went through the trouble of revealing.
They feel very shut out of this game. And I think it all kind of has to do with loading way up on bridges. Just unbalancing their deck.
Yeah, and I said you have to balance the order between villages and draw and payload, and they went for payload, and shut Earl out and maximum payload. But the problem is, if your deck isn't good enough, your maximum payload is never reached. So all you're saying is, a couple of bridges in a turn rather than 6 bridges in a turn.
Yeah.
And a deck that can consistently play 4 bridges is going to do better than a deck with 6 bridges in it that can never play them.
And the truth is, you don't need really more than 4 or 5 bridges. You're going to be lowering piles just fine with that many gains. You can still take green pretty aggressively.
Yeah, and with 4 bridges in play, you're going to at least have 4 money. But in practice, you're going to have 10 or 12 money with those big turns if you've got a couple envoys or a couple.
For sure. And I mean, look at the board right now. You only need 5 gains to take this game right now. So just getting 4 bridges in play is sufficient to win.
Yeah, but I'm not seeing anything immediately obvious for Personman. The chat is suggesting, very risky lines where you lower the piles on purpose. The province is only worth 3 points here, unfortunately. You've got to hope to have more turns as Personman. Obviously, if Earl piles out on their turn, they're going to win because they're going to have a VP lead at the end of this turn. And that's what Personman's trying to figure out, is if there's some way they can lower the piles and score points and not just immediately lose.
This is one of the reasons I don't like Wolf Den, is it leads to these things in the end game where you're like, all right, time to sit here and look at every single card and figure out if I have multiple or not.
Yeah. Luckily, some of them are easy. Salvager is easy.
Yeah.
But Scholar is easy. Actually, they only have 2. But I don't know who has the other, what the paddock split is. I think they probably both have 2. But they know they have, I assume that means they have -8 VP means they have 3 unique cards, which probably are Paddock and Salvager. They also have 1 estate, probably. So Paddock, Salvager, estate are their 3 uniques. Yeah, I mean, I think you're going to have to get a province to win this game, so you might as well get 1 province now. And then you can think about what you want to pair that with. I think I like the line of province double village and hope that Earl can't pile, and then you've got more villages to try to get a big turn next turn.
I don't know. It all seems really bad.
Yeah, they're just super over-terminaled right now is the primary issue we've been discussing. So adding another Scholar doesn't seem to help that much. And Earl's still going to be ahead by 12 victory points at the end of this turn, it looks like.
I guess taking Village Paddock is probably the best thing you can do. It's the most villages you can add. And you pray that they don't take the Emporia.
Yeah, even if they get, 1 Emporia on their turn, it's going to be really hard for you to catch up. With the rest of the shuffle coming up. Not having very many. I guess you played 2 villages this turn. And you have another scholar down there, so there's chances that they find that scholar. And we'll see what Earl's able to do on their turn. Earl has then a couple of coppers. I guess Personman has 2, but I think Earl's probably going to be slightly thinner than Personman in terms of deck. They've gotten rid of all their estates, it looks like. And I still have 1. No, they've gotten rid of all their estates, and they only have 2 uniques, it looks like, which are Province and Salvager. I find it a little strange that they're pausing at this point of the buy phase.
Right?
Like, when you pause at the beginning, are you working out sort of what the best 4 cards that fit together are to make your deck better? Or they had decided that they wanted one of each of those, and
I think they decided something, and then halfway through they went, I don't think I actually want to do that.
Yeah. Where their decision was, where they don't need an undo because they're going to need at least one and one. The second scholar seems strange to me there.
I mean, I wouldn't even take a first scholar.
Fair. It looks like, am I missing? Yeah, it looks like they don't have a pile out here. They got the second.
Why Salvager? Oh, for the unique.
Yeah. But unfortunately, Personman's going to have another rough turn here. Although they get the couple of villages down, which is nice. I believe they have a scholar down there, so they have a pretty good chance of having a turn next turn.
You take province here?
You're not going to win without provincing, right? So,
unless your plan is to take a bunch of them with one big turn, but yeah. Horses.
Earl doing a nice play order there to make sure they get horses into their shuffle.
Yep.
Now, really, they just need to find some bridges, and they may.
Okay, that's one.
Have it in hand here if they salvage Emporium.
Yep, that's 3 gains.
That looks like plenty of money. They could even salvage the province for style points.
Yeah.
Play the salvager first.
Lose 9 VP salvaging a province for style.
No, they only have 1 province, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you're right.
So
something to do. Yeah.
They did not go for the style win, but a win is a win nonetheless. So good game there from Earl. Personman maybe a little bit too aggressive in denying the bridges. And needed to add some villages earlier. And then both decks kind of dudded out at the end and limped across the finish line.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I will see you in game 5.